maybe there's a DJ out there somewhere who has a few regrets and a list of things that he meant to do but hasn't gotten round to yet. Well, maybe he'll feel a little empathy and play this on his FM show. Better late than never. Here's my thanks to whoever plays my song on the radio. Better late than never. Here's my thanks to whoever plays my song on the radio. Good day, planet Earth. Michael Litten, the last DJ, host of Ride the Vibe, broadcasting from the super cool running DRS-ATL studio right here in Roswell, Georgia. My friend, the owner, the proprietor, the master of all technology, Wahid Gomes. Wouldn't be a Ride the Vibe without Wahid at the helm, because I don't know diddly about technology. And I am super stoked to have on the show Kristin Tinsley. And while Kristen's range of musical taste is extensive, a seminal moment occurred when she first watched and listened to Fleetwood Mac's The Dance, which I would highly recommend you all see because it's brilliant. Stevie Nicks' distinctive voice resonated and called out to her. And she took to heart the advice Stevie's friend Tom Petty gave to her when she was recording Trouble in Shangri-La, which became the lyrics to her song, That Made Me Stronger. Tom said to her, or she said to Tom, will you write this for me? And he says, no, you write your songs yourself. That made me stronger, and it made me hold on to me, That strength led Kristen to know that she has the voice and talent to lead. The last DJ's all bollocks. I'm just so excited to lead a Stevie Nicks tribute band called Stand Back in recognition of her all-time favorite musician. Kristen, welcome to The Vibe.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. Thank you.
Again, a second time. You were here in January?
Of 2020.
2 days?
After my birthday.
After your birthday.
And it's been far too long.
Yeah, way too long.
Yeah.
We're so glad to have you back and so stoked that because back at the time, I went back in my notes and we talked about the possibility of you doing this tribute.
Yes, and it was something that the owner of Velvet Note had asked me to do, and we were going to do it in 2020. We had it scheduled, but the problem was when COVID happened, it kind of fell apart, and we had to do a different show. We still had the gig, but we just didn't get to rehearse or do anything because nobody knew what was going on. Yeah. And 2021, she asked me again, and I had about a month's heads up, and I put it together in a month.
Oh my God. Oh, so, well, I'm glad you realized your dream, and it is a testimony to you holding on to you and realizing a dream, which is unbelievable.
It was crazy because when I first started playing, I wanted so badly to do a Stevie Nicks show. Yeah. But that wasn't the thing, period, that bands were doing yet, the tribute act. And, it's hard to find guys that want to play Stevie Nicks stuff at the time in my early 20s. Yeah. And over the years, you come across the right people or the, right musicians. Yeah. And when Tamara Fuller asked me, I made the phone calls and they jumped on board. And I don't think I would have done it had anybody not asked me. Because, it would have been great and would have been fun. And I could have. But I don't know. Somebody asked me and I did it. And it's like, I started realizing how much I really enjoyed doing this. And it was just awesome.
Well, you're glowing. And we have to, we don't have to, but for all your fans that are Legion and continuing to grow, but may not be familiar because it's been 3 bloody years, way too long since we did a show. The way we roll Ride the Vibe is that we want to, it's a podcast, and we suggest listeners sit back in a comfortable environment and get a beverage of their choice. And in the studio, you all, we are featuring this. I do this all the time with Wahid. I give him a gift.
And then
say, Wahid, let's open it up. And sometimes he doesn't even have the gift left by the time the show's over. But we are featuring some Old Soul whiskey from Cathead Distilleries, one of our sponsors. And we love Cathead because, among many reasons, but their tagline on their bottles is support live music. And for those of you that may not be familiar, Cathead was a term used in Mississippi back in the blues kind of era as a nod to artists they respect. So it was a compliment. So the last DJ would say of Kristin Tinsley, she's a cathead. And that would be a compliment. So we are featuring some old soul that Wahid was, well, we twisted his arm, persuaded him to open the bottle. And we're having some of that.
Cheers.
So, Kristen, cheers to you.
And cheers to you, because you used to say this to me all the time when we first met and we're talking. You kept calling me old soul.
Yeah,
all the
very
time.
much so. You were an old soul. And a gold dust woman as well. And we have to, we're doing all our shout outs. We have to, I would not have met you had it not been for the amazing, the one and only Lucy Pillar. And Lucy, we did not rehearse that.
That woman is amazing.
Yeah.
I love her to death.
Yeah, we really all do. Well, I think we've teed it up a little bit. But so, for y'all, what we're going to do is we're going to feature 6 songs, not just a couple minutes to tee up the conversation, but we're going to feature songs that you will hear when you go out and buy tickets to the gig on Saturday, November 11th. Mark this down on your calendar, Saturday, November 11th. It's at the Paris Mountain Vineyards in
Rockmart, Georgia.
Rockmart, Georgia. The gates open, or the venue opens at 2. Mm-hmm. And the Stand Back Stevie Nicks tribute, led by the brilliant, the one and only Kristin Tinsley, will start at 4. And you guys are going to play 4 to...
we're playing 4 to 5:30.
5:30. And then at...
6 o'clock, Jeff Pike with A1A.
A1A. So you get Stevie Nicks and Jimmy Buffett.
And not only just any tribute Jimmy Buffett band, but the nationally recognized and endorsed himself by the late, great Jimmy Buffett.
How timely is that? I mean, come on.
And Jeff does it justice. And I was thrilled to death when he said yes.
What a double billing.
Yes, I'm excited.
So you all get your tickets at Paris, just like it sounds, Paris, Mountain, just like mountain, vineyards.com. They're on sale now. I think $60 for a single, and then you really want to go all hog wild. Get a table, get right down in front, VIP parking.
There's only 10 of them.
So you better get those fast because they will sell out. How many do you think? What's the capacity, Kristen?
So we're sticking with 500 max.
Yeah.
But they're going quick.
Yeah. So this thing's going to sell out,
and chairs.
Yeah. So you better get yourself going, and they can get. Then it's only over 21. So no kids, no dogs.
Right.
And there'll be wine.
There's 2 food trucks. I think they told me that it's going to be barbecue and a taco food truck.
Yeah.
They're on site. Also a coffee food truck if anybody needs to be warmed up or anything.
Yeah.
But beer and all the wine that's made right there. And you can literally look out across, the field and see the grapes that's where it comes from.
I love it.
And it's just a sweet little couple from Marietta, Georgia. And he's a retired firefighter.
I love it.
And that was their retirement. So,
well, I want to talk about how that came to be, because you drove that, of course, as you are not right this minute. I know you're so excited, but we have to. We don't have to because I'm the last DJ. But I want to cue up "Stand Back" so we have it crystallized. This is the name of the tribute band,
Mm-hmm.
"Stand Back." So Wahid, if we could cue up "Stand Back."
Just an invitation would have been just fine. Said
the Vibe. Michael Litten, the last DJ. So stoked to have Kristin Tinsley in the studio, DRS-ATL in Roswell, talking about Stand Back, which is the name of her tribute band, A Dream Realized. And I wanted to go back and talk about the venue and how you came to facilitate all that.
So my aunt owns a vineyard, Ott Farms and Vineyard, up in Ellijay.
Yeah.
They're all part of like a wine community, and they have meetings. Yeah. They were at those meetings and met my aunt and my uncle, and they came up there to just check everything out and see how it ran. And I was playing, and they got my name and number, and they said, as soon as we open, we want you.
Yeah.
So the first gig I did up there at their venue, I had this idea in my head about doing a music festival with all my friends that are in tribute bands, because we never get to see each other play. And I thought it could be really neat, like a Music Midtown, but for adults, and, not be crappy and be good and have fun.
In the North Georgia Mountains.
Well, just somewhere that made sense. And there's a lot of things to take into consideration, but something popped in my head of a place that would be perfect, which was Three Strands Vineyard in Dallas. Turns out the owner of that vineyard is the winemaker for Paris Mountain. And I was mentioning this to them because they told me he was their winemaker and I knew him.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, would our place be good for something like that? And I went, yours is better than his.
Yeah. So what did you like? What did you see? What was your vision of what you saw?
I think I saw what the people, when they first saw Woodstock, like the grounds and had the idea.
Yeah.
I swear that's probably about as close as I can describe it. Just the road and how it was set up as far as how you controlled traffic in and out and it not being an issue on a main road. Mm-hmm. The way it was proximity to what was around, what was not, the view, and just how much space there was, and like the backdrop. I just went, oh my gosh, like I don't even know if they'd be interested, but it just came up and I had just been thinking about it. And they said, yeah, well, how do you do this? I said, I'm going to be really blunt right now. I had this idea for 5 seconds in the shower getting ready to come here. I've never done this before. And full disclosure, I have no freaking clue what I'm doing. And you want, okay.
Oh, my God.
But it could be great. Yeah. That sounds wonderful. I went, okay.
Yeah. And now it's happening.
It is happening.
How does that feel? I mean, it's kind of like...
Well, I did, it's one of those things I would never have opened my mouth and been remotely entertaining it. Even if I was just spouting off at the mouth, I would have been like, no, I'm going to hold myself back.
Yeah.
But I knew I had enough people. If there was a question, I had it answered.
Yeah.
And I knew I had something else in my pocket that made sense for me.
Yeah.
I had some established tribute bands that I knew had just done stuff in that area and been highly successful. So that right there, the draw takes pressure off of me, but gets people in their venue, gets them set up to do this down the road and give Rock Mart something they just don't have right now.
Because you're billing it as the first annual.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, which will be, more to come. So talk about your bandmates that are going to perform with you.
So all the guys in the band I've known for a really long time.
Yeah.
And so my keyboard player, Scott Ritchie, and Nick Edelstein, my guitar player, we used to play in the Atlanta Brass Cats. It was a Chicago tribute band, which is how I came to know Tamara Fuller at Velvet Note, who put this whole idea in my head about the Stevie thing.
I love the genesis of these things.
I know, but that's how it all came together. Scott Ritchie and he asked me to if I'd be interested in singing with the Brass Cats and doing Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's how I met them. Yeah. So I called them right away because Scott is one of the only keyboard players that I know that not only has the talent, the ability, but the wherewithal and like attention to detail that's needed with this, and the sounds, the right keyboard sounds. There's not many like him. And I happen to be...
Because Christy McVie, that's a pretty high bar, no?
Well, there's not a whole lot of musicians that can do what he can do.
Yeah.
And to the degree of, talent it needs to be
and
at.
You wanted it to be really true to... And you didn't want anybody coming in there and doing free-form stuff and just winging it. You wanted
it's a tone thing. It sounds. You have to have the right keyboard synthesizer sounds. Yeah. And Scott will go... he'll spend hours making sure it's perfect and get it right.
Love it.
So I knew that, and I knew I knew I wouldn't lose with him. Nick, he is just brilliant. His resume is insane, but as a band leader, he can do things I cannot. He can communicate and use language I cannot, and help me just get things done faster. And He's just solid.
Yeah.
You know, he comes in, does his job, and we've all been, you know, he's a great friend.
Yeah.
Doug Easterly and I have been friends for about 20 years, and we didn't meet for the first probably 7 or 10 because we played opposite each other every Friday, but we knew each other.
Because he's in what band's tribute band?
So he was the vocalist, did all the Lindsey Buckingham and Rumors ATL.
Okay.
When they first started, he was that guy, like right off the bat. And currently he is singing lead for the Leonard Skinner tribute, Skin Folks. He's the Ronnie Van Zant.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal too. If you haven't heard of them or seen them, check them out. Mm-hmm. And he also does a cover band. It's a 90s cover band called Rock Force 90. Okay. He's the lead singer.
Wow.
But he also plays drums.
Busy guy.
Well, and that's how I knew he played drums, because I used to open for his ZZ Top tribute before COVID, because he drummed, and he always told me how much he loved it and didn't get to do it enough.
Yeah.
And I needed a sub on drums coming up, and he was sitting right in front when we did Velvet Note earlier this year.
Yeah.
And I called him and I said, I need a male vocalist and a drummer. Are you interested?
Yeah.
And I snagged him.
Wow.
And then Steve Mays I met because COVID took out my original bass player. I had it lined up.
Yeah.
He was sick 3 days before the gig, and Tamara said, you need to call Steve Mays. And that's how me and Steve met. He came in 3 days before the gig, and boom.
And it clicked.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things.
Yep.
Wow.
And then Daniel Glozier is my other guitar player.
Yeah.
And I've known him for years, solid as they come. Yeah. And he's new in this role. And we'll be doing our first gig with him coming up in November.
At the Vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
At the Paris Mountain Vineyards, y'all.com. Get your tickets. Because right now they probably sold some already.
Yeah. They've been moving.
You know,
so.
Well, no, this is a pre-recorded podcast, so it's not like it's not like a telethon.
If you don't do it now, I mean, I don't know.
By the end of this show,
you're going to be sad.
But by the time you hear this show, it may be too late.
This is the voice from the past, by the way.
Exactly.
This is the voice of Christmas past.
Oh my God. So I love that. So we're going to play Stop Dragging My Heart Around, one of my all-time favorites, and then we're going to come back and talk about that because there's a tie-in with the amazing Jeff Pike. So we will be right back. Michael Litten having a great conversation. Listen to killer music. Stop Dragging My Heart Around. And Kristen, tell, you've just recently, relatively recently, seen Stevie
back
here
in May
in ATL, and she tells stories. So share, give us some stories.
Well,
on that song.
So this song particularly, Tom Petty came in and was helping her because she was doing her first album by herself. It was Belladonna, and it was she was branching away, and you know, I have no way of knowing to what degree of by herself she was, but she was doing it. And she was always used to having a partner. Mm-hmm. And I guess they had met at some point in time, become very close, but she needed some content, a solid hit, a sure win hit, because they weren't sure if she was going to have that. Mm-hmm. She's great, but
she's not Fleetwood. It's not Fleetwood Mac.
It's not even that. It's more about like writing styles, because Lindsay is what kind of really made her stuff pop. Mm-hmm. She's great, but in all honesty, she'd probably sit right here and tell you herself. I mean, it's just you just know your limitations and what you got.
Right.
And you get the people then that can do your song justice and make it what it's supposed to be. But Tom Petty had Stop Dragging My Heart Around, but it was kind of sitting because I've honestly heard a version of it. I love Tom Petty, but it was hard to listen to. But it's a great song.
God bless you, Tom. We love you.
I'm just saying, it's any sane person would just go, oh, that's a really rough scratch. Yeah. And it probably was. But that was the one. And that was obviously one of the singles. And I think it helped her having him in there and his band, because they were filling in gaps for her and she was comfortable, is what I gathered from anything I've ever read or seen, over the years. So it was cool. It was like brother, sister, and he just had her back.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then Jeff and you are going to...
Yeah. So Jeff and I, when we first met, I'll never forget this. He got me up at Hemingway's and he and I did Gypsy together. It's the last time we ever sang together.
Wow.
We've always wanted to. And when I called him, getting him to help me, and he's been mentoring me with getting my band together.
Right.
He said, well, I better be asked to come and be a special guest. I said, invitation wide open. There's never not one.
Yeah.
And it turns out, unfortunately, Doug's going to be out of town. It's his anniversary. So I said, you are not playing. I said, so my drummer, the guy I've got filling in is a great singer, but Jeff and I are doing this, and it was a prime opportunity. And so I've got Jeff
Stop Dragging My Heart
and Leather and Lace.
Oh my
together.
gosh, which we're going to play, not right this minute though. So, and that'll be a first since you did Gypsy with him.
But it's just cool because he wanted to, and he threw it out there before I even thought about it. And this was perfect. Yeah. So we're both excited about it.
I love it. Oh my gosh. And in the studio, because it's a podcast audio, you can't see, but I brought in one of only 3 albums that I have left.
I wish y'all could see my face right now because I've been staring at it since he showed it to me.
And what it is, go ahead, Kristen, you describe it.
Oh, this is the first thing Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham did, which is called Buckingham Nicks. And they recorded it at Sound City in California. And they did it on the famous Rupert Neve board that was the buzz of the town when it was made. And they had the only one. And all the famous people were coming in to look at this board to record there. And Lindsey and Stevie were the first people to record on that board. This album was the first thing cut on that board. And it's an amazing album. And
you hadn't seen it. You had not touched it.
I have seen it online, pictures, but I have never seen it.
And then you got to open it up.
In my hand. And this is brilliant. It's so freaking cool.
And what was one of the things when you open it up, you got to see...
Waddy Waddell's name.
Yeah, Waddy Waddell's name. And then you got to see... You guys are doing 2 songs off that album.
Yes, we're almost there because just the... It's a big song, but Frozen Love is one of my favorites. Yep. Monster guitar solo, but beautifully done.
Yeah.
And I got the right guys at this moment in time to pull that off.
And you didn't know, because, again, I mean, it's so digital. Until you open it up, you didn't know who the drummer was.
Yeah, or the synthesizer player, or like who played drums, bass, anything. I had a feeling Lindsey did a lot of different things, but we were all sitting there rehearsing Long Distance Winter a couple months back, and 2 of the guys made a comment about the drums in it, because it's like the guy was playing drums like a singer would sing if they were playing guitar, as far as the dynamics, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I always thought it might have been Lindsey Buckingham putting those kind of accents, because as far as a pattern, my drummer was having a hard time doing it because it's not normal. Yeah. And anyways, it was neat to actually see those names, because that's something online I've never seen pictures of.
Yeah. And you did make a picture.
I did.
So
now I have one. I'm going to frame
it. The last DJ loves Kristen, but is not giving her that album.
Can you leave it to me in your will?
Maybe.
if you ever were going to give anybody that's not family anything and you didn't have anybody for this,
all right, that's
just
a commitment.
This one.
Yes, you got it, girl.
You know I'd love it and treasure it forever.
Oh my gosh. So too cool. And then the second song off that you do.
So we're going to be doing Frozen Love and Long Distance Winter.
Wow. I love it.
Because that, to me, that Stevie song on here, to me, it just kind of encapsulated and encompassed, and that was who she was at the time as a writer. Mm-hmm. And I could see her sitting there just going through it very methodically, thought-wise, and structuring it more so than the other ones. Like this one was something that I feel like she thought a lot about because it was going to be like a single. Yeah. And she thought
From
a lot.
That album. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know, as a writer myself, if you can put yourself in someone else's shoes, it's almost like I could see her going through this and how she was putting it together.
I love it. And then the story of how that then catapulted them to become part of
Fleetwood Mac. So Mick Fleetwood, as a lot of other famous artists, big artists, they were looking at this board.
Hanging out in California, in that whole Laurel Canyon hotbed of just cauldron of creativity.
And that studio was the buzz because of the board. Yeah. And they also were looking for another guitar player because Peter Green was stepping away. Yeah.
Well, the brilliant Peter Green. If you haven't heard Fleetwood Mac with Peter Green, do yourself a favor and check early Fleetwood Mac out.
And if you want to see how drastically Fleetwood Mac's sound changed from that to this moment we're talking about, check it out. Yes. But anyway, so the studio demo turned on Frozen Love because they had just cut it. It was big guitar.
Kind of a demo to say, hey, this is what our studio can do.
And again, even without knowing he's looking for a guitar player, this solo on that song, it's just epic. It's monster. And if you're going to show anything off, that's what you show off. And I don't know if they had a lot of things to show off because this is very early on.
They're the first, right?
They were the first.
Yeah.
Well, they loved, Lindsay asked not only who, can they have the studio, but who's the guitar player? Yeah. And then they got in touch with Lindsay, said, we're a package. Yeah. They said, that's a no-go. Yeah. But he was so brilliant, they were like, do we do this? And so what the agreement was, well, we got to let Christine McVie meet Stevie and see if they get along. Because if they don't, but like if they do, like we want you enough, like we'll just take her. Yeah. It's kind of what it was. Like whatever, we'll stick her over here and then like it'll work itself out. If I have every feeling that's probably the thought.
Yeah, sure.
Either it's going to be done or it will work itself out. Yeah. Well, turns out she couldn't be the more popular one out of everybody that they go to see Fleetwood Mac for anyway.
Yeah, right. Isn't that crazy?
Take that.
Yeah. And so they meet.
Oh, they meet and literally like giddy little schoolgirls. The guys are like, "Can we? No, go away." And I heard her tell that story at the concert.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
it was really cute.
And you're getting yourself to the point where when folks come out to see Stand Back, that they may also get some trivia of this little woven in.
And it's like you can find this anywhere. Honestly, the stories have been told, but it's different when you see her tell it not on a television interview, like standing on stage, doing her job and being comfortable. Yeah. The other thing is sometimes these things are not necessarily out in public where you've heard it a million times. It's there, but you got to dig and you get lucky. Right. But
in the context of performance, right?
I just find that kind of, especially with what she went through right off the bat. I mean, even this album cover, she didn't want to pose like this.
Yes. So tell those that have not seen it. She's naked, which is why I have it.
But it's art. That's what Lindsay told her. It's art. Yeah. And she's like, I just spent all my money on a dress that now I can't take back, and now I'm not using it.
Because they really were dirt poor. I mean, they had no money. They were struggling. They were almost ready to...
She was supporting both of them because...
Is she a waitress or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's told this story. She goes, what's Lindsey Buckingham going to do? Go work? No. She barely went and painted a house. Like, that's, I think, the only thing he did, like, one day. So she was supporting them. But again, and I get what she's saying. People like that with his brain, they don't function well. Yeah. And they don't take direction and orders from other people well because they are so headstrong because that's where their
genius comes from.
Exactly. Yeah. And she knew that, but this is why Stevie Nicks is in the Rock and Roll Music Hall of Fame now as the only female solo artist because she literally
I did not know that. Only female solo artist.
So, she is the only Like, it's her name, not the Pretenders. I don't even know if Chrissy Hines in there with the Pretenders, but you get my drift, because Fleetwood Mac is in there.
Yes, right.
But it's Stevie Nicks.
As a soloist.
But I'll tell you what, I mean, she never let it get to her, even if it did, and I know it could not.
Yeah.
And I know she probably was questioning so many decisions, and she was not deferring to Lindsay constantly.
Yeah.
She's very headstrong too, but she did what she had to do, and I don't think she sacrificed what you would call that part of the morals in the music industry.
Yeah.
But she had a vision, she had a goal, and she knew when to bend, and she knew how to get her way, but she was very smart about it. And she's just brilliant in more ways than just being an artist, in my opinion. And to also to do it with all the just whatever, you can or you can't, or the battles you fight that have nothing to do with anything, constantly having to prove yourself. She never let it get to her. She just did it.
So thank God she kept the dress she had bought in the closet and posed with Lindsay artistically. And it's and
at the end of the day, it had nothing to do with even how they got signed. But, it's one of those things like...
But it's like, and then on the flip side, the back, it's sort of a, what is it? What would you call it?
It looks like it's like a mirror image, like almost like it's a holographic, but it's backwards, like you're looking at it in the other side of the mirror.
In the day, long time ago.
It's a brilliant piece of art, honestly, in my opinion. I've never seen anything like it.
I'm keeping an eye on Kristen when she leaves the studio here, because I'm afraid.
But I'll tell you what, Lindsay learned, Stevie learned a lot. She might not have liked it, but she always learned this is just my assumption, because she's brilliant.
Right.
She might sound like she doesn't know what she's talking about, but the minute she needs you to know she does, it's over.
Yeah, she knows.
And even to this day, I've watched them with Fleetwood Mac. If you watch any of the documentaries or any DVDs that are out currently, like recent, she looks at Lindsay and she's like, this is not 1970, blah, blah, blah. And I do not have to listen to you, Lindsay. And I'm like, yeah, because he's being unreasonable. Go, girl. Like, don't let him get away, because,
she's found her own voice.
But again, it's like they kicked him out of the band recently because of this.
Yeah.
Because Stevie was mad. It's funny that that's not the one you wanted, and she just made a decision to kick out the one you originally did, and they followed what she said. Karma's
kind of crazy the way it comes around.
This was about end of 2019, 2018. Wow. Yeah, right before COVID. They told him he had to go over there in the corner.
So you all better get out to Paris Mountain Vineyards on Saturday, November 11th, beginning, the doors open at 2, 4 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. To see Stand Back and Kristin Tinsley doing a tribute to Stevie Nicks. We are going to take a very short break to support a sponsor that Ride the Vibe wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for DRS ATL. We'll be right back, y'all.
DRS provides professional audio mixing and mastering services. They also provide other creative services, such as voiceover editing, audio restoration, and audio forensics. They have great customer service, their work is fast and efficient, and their prices are affordable. You can learn more about their creative services by visiting them on the web at drsatl.com. Again, that's drsatl.com, or call them at 404-590-0779. Again, that's 404-590-0779. DRS, when the right sound matters.
You were back on Ride the Vibe, having a fascinating conversation about all things Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac, Tom Petty, and we like to say of Ride the Vibe, it's like a digital liner notes, y'all, because you don't get this kind of stuff from Spotify or other of those things. You don't know anything about what the backstory is.
They're just lame.
Lame, man. So you got to get some in-depth stuff going. Oh, my gosh. And you just recently shot some promotional video. Talk about that, and talk about how, because that's a neat experience.
So my sound guy that I hired on to work with us for this project, he also
sound guy's name?
Stephen Powell.
Stephen Powell, brilliant.
So he works
great.
And he works for the wonderful production company, Speedy Productions. Okay. And he is such a sweetheart, too. Yeah. He has really helped me a lot and been there for me. But they are the hired-on production team up at the Mill in Canton. And basically, Stephen, we were talking about getting some EPK and some video together. Yeah. And, that's expensive. And, but it has to be done.
Yeah.
Well, the event space is only used when it's booked or for church.
This mill.
Yes, it's called Timbers. It's up at the top floor of, the whole facility. It's where the whole offices that run everything are. And they knew who I was and that Stephen was working with me, and they offered to let me have it when it wasn't booked, as long as we didn't interfere with the businesses below with sound.
Yeah.
And I went, oh my gosh, which means we had a stage, lights, and like all the board and like best sound equipment hooked up. So I went, okay, good. So I start getting it all together. We set a date, and I had a buddy of mine that was going to help with the filming. Well, they have been filming a movie called Jesse's Song up in Canton, and Stephen and Speedy, the owner of Speedy Productions, were in the movie and was working with them for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
They were getting ready to premiere the finished product up at the mill for everyone. And they were just there having a meeting, and they asked Stephen, what's up? And he starts talking about this and what we're about to do. And they said, does she have a film crew?
Yeah.
Anybody filming it? And he said, I don't know. I'll ask. And he goes, tell her we'd be more than happy to help her if she's interested. So the film crew for that movie.
And that's Ken?
Ken Merritt.
Merritt.
Mm-hmm. And he was the director of Jesse's
So you
Song.
all stay tuned, because thanks to Kristen, and thanks to Lucy and all the connections.
Yeah.
I've had a conversation with Ken, and we are going to feature Jesse's Song soundtrack on the Vibe.
And y'all will not be disappointed. It is brilliant. And it's already up. I don't know if it's won or if it's just up, but for awards. And I think it already won one.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant.
So
and they're
thank
just
you for
great
that.
people.
And you have shared with me some little snippets of that production.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
So that's cool.
They were just so kind, but they sent 3 of their guys out, and they sat there all afternoon until we had all the music tracked and came up there and just knocked it out like rock stars. And they were so kind.
Oh my God. So shout out to the crew from Jesse's.
Jeremiah. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, we are going to play Leather and Lace because you've referenced it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be right back and talk about how that's going to play out at the Paris Mountain Vineyards event on Saturday, November 11th. Off of Stevie Nicks' Belladonna, no?
First solo album.
Yeah. So we were just talking, as we were listening to that, about her ability to pull in heavyweights like Tom Petty, like Don Henley. Talk about that song and why you love that and why.
That one resonates with me very deeply because one of the biggest loves of my life for 10 years was one of the biggest guitar players around, and he's since passed. But that was a song we used to play together. He'd play it for me. And I remember, I'll never forget the first time I sat in with him and Mike Veal.
Yeah.
And he was playing, and he was just so encouraging because it was like one of my first times ever playing. And I'm sitting here with like two of the best musicians around, and I literally like don't have a clue. And it's just because I was friends with Mike.
Yeah.
And Barry was such an amazing guitar player, Barry Thrasher.
Mm-hmm.
I was just honored to be sitting next to him, much less him letting me sing.
Yeah.
And then we ended up dating for 10 years.
And that's a story for another show. We're not going into that.
But I feel like she always showed them an interest that they don't normally get from a female.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw something in her that wasn't just ditzy and, dumb. They took her seriously to a degree.
Yeah.
And thank goodness they did, because, I'm pretty
Brilliant
sure.
song.
Yeah, it really is.
And you and Jeff are going to do that.
Yeah.
I love it.
We are.
So 2 duets, Stop Dragging My Heart Around, and then Leather and Lace.
I'm excited.
At the event.
I'm really excited. Honestly, I'm excited about the event, but Jeff just being so gung-ho and so just, I want to sing with you. I'm like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just very honored and lucky.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God. Blessed beyond measure, right?
He's a wonderful guy. He's fantastic.
I love it. And one of your favorite, if not your favorite song of hers, is Belladonna. And I want to talk about that, but we're going to play it. And then we'll just a couple minutes, y'all, because, we got to talk about these things. So we'll be right back.
You can ride high atop your pony. I know you won't fall, 'cause the whole thing's phony. You can fly, swinging from your trapeze, scaring all the people, but you never scare me.
All things Stevie Nicks with Kristin Tinsley, who is the genesis, the driver, the formationer.
The crazy person taking it on?
Yeah, of this band called Stand Back. Talk about that song and why you love it, and then what a treat it was for you to see her in May, Stevie in May.
Belladonna is one of those songs that it's not a hooky song, it's not a single.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the words, you can't help but feel it if you listen to it. Everybody's felt that, and you feel it differently throughout your life. Each time you listen to it, it changes. The reason that song means even more to me now, which I didn't think it was possible, is a girl that I'd met years ago that has turned out to be everything I thought she was, but she is like my best friend. She's like my family. This woman is just, anytime I call
her first name, we won't stalk her down.
Tasha Elrod.
Oh, you're going to say the last name. Oh,
she's
bleep that out, Tasha.
She's the most amazing person, period, in the world.
Yeah.
She's got such a great heart, but she has just been there for me when I have needed it most in a big way, and not one time even hesitated. And all my friends are like that, but her and I's bond is very specific because she loves Stevie Nicks as much as I do. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how much you do or don't like somebody just because you say you do, but she and I are on the same page. Yeah. And it's like, it literally is a part of your life in a way that's like interwoven with things that you've gone through, and how you've gotten through things has been this music specifically. And there's not many of my friends that can say that.
The tapestry of your life.
Well, when you talk about just prophetic meanings and just the poetic way she writes and how much you can read or not read into things, or what it speaks to you. Like she heard what I heard. Yeah. And she was drawn to the same things I was. And those are fun conversations.
And she's a non-musician, so different. And then for her birthday, she bought Stevie Nicks tickets and wanted me to go with her because she wanted me there seeing Stevie on her birthday, because she wasn't going to go to the concert at first. No way.
But it was on her birthday. And she said, that's a sign. I feel like I need to go, and I need to take Tinsley. Yeah. So she called me and said, look, Stevie's playing on my birthday. Yeah. You need to go with me. It's my birthday present to myself. You're my present to go see Stevie.
At Lakewood. We
were at the arena, or the State Farm Arena. Yeah. And we were down on the floor. Yeah. And, these artists deserve to get paid that money. Yeah. But even in the nosebleeds, their tickets are expensive and always have been. Yeah. And I can afford them at one point in my life, but like coming out of COVID and everything, and I'm building this band, to get me in a different direction.
That was a huge gift.
It was, because I don't know if I ever would have been able to get that close. Yeah. Because it's just one of those things, like you just put your head down and work, and you're just getting by. So it was, I'm like, I can't believe you're taking me to see this on your birthday. Like, I feel like it's my birthday.
What was the highlight of the show for you? There's so many.
Watching her play Belladonna with Tasha next to me holding her hand, and Stevie skipping the part we love the most, and us both going, oh my God. Like,
she's really,
she took out, I don't know why. I honestly, but it's our favorite verse.
What's the part? Go ahead.
It's the ladies feeling just like the moon that she loved. Yeah. Or no, wait. Let me take that. That's the woman may be so awestruck, and the woman may truly care, but the woman is so tired. Yeah. And
she took that out.
Yeah, like she shortened it in a weird way, and I don't know why. Yeah. Because it didn't make sense, but it's literally like that verse, and we were ready for it, holding hands, like squeezing hands, like here it comes, and. What? You hear us both in the video go, what? And then we just started laughing, because I'm like, you and I, like, we know it. We're the only people that are even fazed by this right now.
Didn't notice that it was,
and not pissed, but like sad that it wasn't there, because that was we were waiting for it.
Would a all-time dream of yours be to meet her?
It would. Yeah. And it would also be the scariest moment in my life, because I can keep it cool and handle myself. I don't know if I would sit there and say nothing and pass out while looking like I'm awake, or sit there and go, I'm about to say everything stupid, and please don't not be my friend, and let me get this out of the way, and please talk to me like.
But you have shared with me that you are visualizing that this will happen, that she will, just like Jimmy Buffett has recognized A1A as their official, and the reason Stand Back is unique is because,
in my opinion. Just my opinion. We just have something that the other ones don't. All the other bands are doing a Stevie Nicks tribute, but they're labeling it as a Fleetwood Mac one too. Yes. That's fine. Do whatever you want. Everybody can do what they want. Yep. But this, in my opinion, is taking Stevie's career from the minute it hit, the mainstream world, to get her where she is now.
With her Buckingham Nicks, Frozen Love.
And there's a reason why not every band can just do those songs. Mm-hmm. Frozen Love is the thing that put her on the map, honestly. That's how she got recognized, because that song, that's a hard song. It's big. Yeah. And you have got to have the players to be able to pull that off. Mm-hmm. And I do. And the reason we've not done it yet is because it just takes some time to make sure it's done right. Right. And I'm not
because you're not going to compromise.
I'm not going to come out of the gate with anything less than correct, honestly. Because otherwise, what am I doing? Right. And, and also, too, we're not trying to, like, cookie copy either.
Yeah.
I'm not Stevie Nicks. I never will be.
Right.
But I want to do it justice. And I want it to be everything it's supposed to be, but mine at the same time.
Yeah.
And we're, that comes with time. But I think we're doing a good job so far and having a great time with it.
I love it. So Stevie Nicks, reach out to Kristin Tinsley.
And if you want to get paid for those songs, I'll give you money.
We only did a couple minutes of them, though, so it's not a big deal. Well, we are going to segue now. So we've done 4 Stevie Nicks tunes, and we are now going to play a Kristin Tinsley song. We're going to play Sabrina. Just a couple minutes of it, though. If we could, Wahid, cue that up.
You never seen, they track her down like prey, tracing close behind her, how they wish to cry her name. Oh, when they do, she flies away, straight into his arms. Only he can have her when he cries.
Cry Out to the Night album. And that is a tribute, if you didn't get it, if you didn't pick it up, to Rhiannon. Talk about, because when you were back on the show in January, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Stevie Nicks right there.
So I love Rhiannon.
Yeah.
And I never knew if I was going to pull this off, but I wanted a song like Rhiannon. But what other name is out there that makes sense and is like mystical enough, kind of like, Yeah. And I was doing a gig on 4th of July years ago. And we were out on, this property up in North Georgia.
It was a winery, no? You were at a winery?
No, it was someone's house. And they just had a bunch of land. Yeah. And the wife's name was Sabrina. And what happened is one of the kids on the four-wheelers took a jump because they had like a whole track with like jumps and stuff for four-wheelers. Yeah. He like went off wrong and had an accident. He wasn't like hurt, but the husband, the owner of the property, he yelled the name Sabrina, like super loud, to get her attention. And at that moment in time, even it just clicked. Just for a second, like, oh my God, there it is.
Yeah. But that's
where I got, that's where I got that name because I went, and that's honestly some of the content too, just like, Yeah. But she was a really awesome woman and I dug her a lot. She was just a really strong lady. And I admired her a lot. And then her name was great too.
Perfect. Well, we're going to wrap up because the time has just flown by. We could do another hour on this easy, but we've got to do the title track of that album, Cry Out to the Night.
Which is a tribute to Stevie as well.
Yeah, of course. And we're going to come back and talk about that. So if we could, Wahid, on the control.
What you're feeling, she hears voices too, and she understands the reasons why you were crazy.
off Cry Out to the Night, her album. And we have a couple minutes left, and I want to talk about that song. But before we do that, I have to also give you all a heads up. If you cannot make that show at Paris Mountain Vineyards on Saturday, November 11th, you can also check out Kristin Tinsley at the Velvet Note on Friday, December 1st. Mm-hmm. And that is also Stand Back, or that is that. Mm-hmm. So that is Stand Back. So again, Stevie Nicks tribute at the Velvet Note, a great intimate setting on Friday, December 1st. And then you get one other chance, I believe, and Stand Back also at the Southern Roots on Friday, December 15th.
In McDonough.
And these are also all on Kristen's website, which is?
KristinTinsley.com.
I love it. And that is TINSLEY. So Cry Out to the Night. Talk about that as we just wrap this great conversation up.
So Stevie Nicks has a song called Real Tears.
Yeah.
And it was just hitting me one day. And I just thought it'd be cool to write a song and answer all the questions she posed in the song, kind of like a comfort back to her, if that makes sense. Like, I like writing stories in my head. Like, I don't know, I'm weird. Yeah. But that's what that song's about.
Well, you're a musician. And that's why we love you.
But I didn't anticipate it becoming anything, but it made sense for that album. And then the just overall musicality and the way it sounds, the feel came from a song called Nightbird of hers. And the guitar player, Jason Salzman, that played on that really helped capture that. But also too, like, it's a whole different vibe and feel, but he did a great job encompassing what I was going for.
Yeah, I love it.
So, yeah.
Well, this has just been a great conversation. Parting comments, thoughts?
Well, I just have to give it a shout out to you and Wahid, because these two guys are they've been my friends since the minute we met. And I called and asked if I could come and promote these shows. And you said, how can we help? And just thank you guys. You guys deserve just all of it. Thank you.
And we want you to rock on, Gold Dust Woman.
Well, thank you.
We are out of here. Michael Litten, the last DJ, host of Ride the Vibe.
Better get her done, son, because the hour is grown late. Maybe there's a